intestacy and estate planning to remove some of the mystique that surrounds this area of law for the ordinary Jamaican. Following today's launch, we will embark on a series of public education sessions island-wide to raise awareness of the benefits and also how to treat with estate-related matters while we still have, and I will say, we still have the opportunity to do so while we're on this side of at the Custos Rotulorum of St. James, Bishop Honorable Conrad Pitkin to offer prayer. And perhaps the mic as well, Custos Pitkin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Minister, I pray for you daily. And when I heard the time you left Parliament this morning, I said, boy, no, you wouldn't get any sleep, but the Lord strengthens you. May I invite you to stand, please, sitting down for maybe an hour or more. I'm always intrigued by this portion of scripture that I would like to share with you. And it's from Micah chapter 6 and the 8th verse. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord requires of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk with thy God. Let us pray. Our gracious, eternal Father, this morning we bow our hearts with gratitude and thanksgiving for your divine goodness, for your mercy and your love towards us. Father, we thank you for a beautiful island home and the many blessings which you have bestowed upon us as a people. As we are gathered today in this launching, we thank you for the vision and insight of our Minister Delroy Chuck. Thank you for his leadership. Today we pray that you will continue to grant him your divine guidance, wisdom, strength as he continues to work for the development of our nation and the betterment of our people. For the team that surround him, we ask, oh Lord, that you will continue to guide them each day, that they will work together as a unit. We ask, oh Lord, that as this event is being launched today, we pray that it will not just be a time within this room, but it will be for the benefit and the advancement of your people, that we'll find the answer for the many disputes that we have around this country. Many are heartbroken. Many have been left in mourning and grief. But Father, we pray for your continued mercy upon us. And as we are joined today, remember those who have lost loved one because of some dispute, some conflict within the family. But Lord, we pray for your strength and for the guidance of your Holy Spirit. Watch over us, and may this day's proceeding be one of success. Grant this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Please be seated.
Richard to officially welcome you today. Yes?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, the task is mine to do the welcome. It seems we have the same speech, but I'm going to ask you to indulge me. So, we will hear a lot of repetition today, because I'm sure Minister will say some similar things too. This is a part that you don't listen. We're going through it again. Chuck, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Mrs. Deborah Duperly Pinks, Representative for His Excellency Mark Bermond, High Commissioner of Canada to Jamaica, Mr. Richard Stewart, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Representative for Dr. Kevin Blake, Commissioner of Police, Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotolorum of St. James, Senior Superintendent of Police, Norris Rooms, Representative for the Honorable Ian Forbes, CDJP, Custos Rotolorum of St. Andrew, Mrs. Leslie Ann Dixon, Enevo, Assistant Resident Representative for Dr. Kishan Cody, Resident Representative of the United Nations Development Program, Mrs. Stacey Ann Carty, Administrator General and Chief Executive Officer of the Administrator General's Department, Mr. Eric Hosen, Chairman of the Administrator General's Department Advisory Board and members from the Advisory Board, Chairman of the Dispute Resolution Foundation of Jamaica, Mr. John Bassey, Mr. Ranel Brooks, Principal of the Norman Manley High School, members of the Executive Management from the Ministry of Justice and the Administrator General's Department, and other government ministries, departments, and agencies, other very specially invited guests, members of the public watching online, with the Administrator General's Department and agency of this ministry. This collaborative campaign exercise is the brainchild of our Minister, Honorable Delroy Chuck, who is passionate about having disputes settled without violence, as well as the need for Jamaicans to ensure that we all have a will in place to reduce disputes and disagreement once we are gone. And not through the door, you know, not coming back. Today's theme, Resolving Disputes, Securing Legacy, speaks directly to the heart of our mission, that of equipping citizens with the knowledge and tools to resolve conflict constructively while safeguarding their future. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs remains steadfast in its commitment to advancing that of our citizens and access to justice and strengthening a more efficient, responsive, and people-centered justice system. Central to this effort is our drive to encourage Jamaicans to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms as practical, effective, and legally sound means of resolving conflicts, thus reducing the need for protracted litigation and easing the burden of our courts. We must, as a society, shift how we approach conflict. It is important that we recognize that there are meaningful alternatives to adversarial processes. Alternative dispute resolution not only facilitates fair and timely resolutions, but also promotes social harmony by fostering understanding, cooperation, and mutual respect among parties. Conflict, while inevitable in our society, often escalates into more serious disputes, even crime and violence, simply due to misunderstandings and or poor communication. This underscores the importance of proactive and informed approaches to dispute prevention and management. It is within this context that the ministry found it both strategic and necessary to lock hands with the Administrator General's Department by integrating the ADR initiatives of the ministry with their public education campaign, which addresses one of the most common areas of disputes in Jamaica, which is estate planning, widely known in Jamaica as deadlift. We recognize that disputes over property and inheritance remain one of the most common and contentious factors for conflicts affecting Jamaican families. The reality is that the Administrator General's Department is currently tasked with managing billions of dollars in assets on behalf of beneficiaries, many of which remain unresolved due to the absence of wills. The absence of wills often triggers severe conflicts among family members over deadlift, frequently requiring the intervention of the AGD as well as the ministry's alternate dispute services. Today, the Administrator General's Department will detail its public education campaign, which seeks to demystify estate planning and provide the Jamaican public with clear, concise, and correct instructions on preparing wills and understanding intestacy. This is a critical step toward reducing conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, this launch of the ADR policy adversarial proceedings. Today's program, though concise, will offer valuable insights into the campaign and its expected impact on fostering a more orderly and harmonious society. Significant work begins here today, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all again to this function. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pierre Stuart McFarlane. It is said that music hath charms to soothe a savage beast, which, in the context of today's proceedings, could be the harmful societal repercussions of unresolved conflicts and the burdensome impact of non-existent or poor estate planning choices on those left behind. I'm therefore happy to introduce a saxophonist, Henroy Salmon, who will be providing a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of levity today. Mr. Henroy Salmon. Thank you, Mr. Salmon. Through God, all things are indeed possible, and we anticipate great things for this island that we love as a result of this public awareness drive. Through this campaign, we aim to promote greater awareness of practical, accessible, and alternative conflict resolution tools that can help to preserve relationships and build social harmony. We want more Jamaicans to use the ministry's free resources to resolve their conflicts. To achieve this, we need the involvement of crucial stakeholders. We are therefore happy to have our long-standing partners from the Government of Canada, through the High Commission of Canada to Jamaica, and the United Nations Development Program in Jamaica with us. Because of these ongoing partnerships, our justice sector has benefited greatly in advancing our mandate of making justice more accessible to Jamaicans. We have been able to implement strategies for greater accessibility to justice and host multiple projects impacting thousands of Jamaicans. I now invite Mrs. Leslie Ann Dixon Enevo, Assistant Resident Representative representing Dr. Kishan Cody, representative of the United Nations Development Program in Jamaica, followed by Mrs. Deborah Duperly Pink, Social Justice, Gender Equity and Development Professional representing the High Commissioner of Canada to Jamaica and the Bahamas, Mr. Mark Burmam, to deliver their remarks.
To our moderator, Ms. Renee Oliphant, thank you. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Delroy Chuck, the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica, Dr. Deborah Duperly Pinks, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Grace and Stuart McLean, standing on all the protocols observed, distinguished guests, good morning. The mark of a great justice system is one that is accessible, understood, and sensitive to the challenges and differences of its clients. Today's launch of a public education campaign on estate planning is aimed to improve the numbers of Jamaicans legally settling their affairs for the benefit of their loved ones. While the approval granted for the development of a national policy on alternative dispute resolution signals Jamaica's intent to strengthen viable options for resolving disagreements and conflicts. These are important developments in justice service reform and delivery. UNDP is therefore proud to join you at this important juncture of the implementation of the Social Justice Project, which brings us steps closer to achieving Jamaica's vision of a world-class, inclusive justice system. I extend great appreciation to our partners at Global Affairs Canada, GAC, whose generous support has made these developments possible. GAC's role in financing justice sector reform has produced transformational outcomes. The UNDP is honored to have partnered with Canada for more than 15 years in bringing Jamaica's visionary agenda to life. UNDP, under the Social Justice So Just project, is equally proud to support the development of an alternative dispute resolution policy through facilitating the requisite research, ensuring high-quality products grounded in evidence. The So Just project aims to expand the suite of alternative dispute resolution programs offered at the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. In keeping with this key objective, the policy framework is a necessary development of a justice system that engenders nonviolence, and peace. The public education campaign on estate planning is an excellent opportunity to creatively communicate the nuts and bolts of the process, and more importantly, the benefits. Those who receive your products should understand that they have the power to protect their families, advance generational wealth, and preempt tragic disputes. We salute the Administrator General's Department for spearheading this important and necessary initiative under the auspices of the SOJUST project. Information fosters knowledge and understanding, and this fuels empowerment and agency. By launching this public education campaign, we're strengthening the foundations of this inclusive justice system we're building and affirm a core truth. Access to justice is a right, not a privilege, and I say this often. To our stakeholders and partners, your efforts are a testament to the transformative impact of collaboration. Let us continue to work together, breaking barriers, fostering inclusion, and building a Jamaica where every Jamaican can access the justice they deserve. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Minister Chuck, Permanent Secretary Ms. Grace Ann McFarling, and Ms. Oliphant, able moderator, you've laid down all the protocols beautifully, so I shall just observe them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here this morning bringing remarks on behalf of the Canadian High Commissioner, His Excellency Mark Berman, who unfortunately was unable to be here today due to a previous engagement. Canada has supported justice reform in Jamaica for more than 15 years, including institutional strengthening, court reform, and expanded access to justice. This commitment continues through the current social justice project with a particular focus on inclusion, especially for persons with disabilities. The Ministry of Justice has long championed alternative dispute resolution, including victim services, restorative justice, child diversion, mediation, and other dispute resolutions mechanisms. Across these services, there is a shared commitment to dignity, accountability, and inclusion, core principles of social justice. Canada is supportive of ADR because the rule of law and stability are foundational to inclusive economic growth. Effective justice systems reduce violence, corruption, and social exclusion. ADR aligns with Canada's values by prioritizing equity, inclusion, and rights-based approaches. Community-based justice eases pressure on formal courts while delivering better outcomes for women, youth, and underserved communities. Today, we also acknowledge the launch of the Administrator General's Department Public Education Campaign alongside the development of the National ADR Policy, a timely convergence with strong complementarities. Prevention and resolution. AGD reduces disputes through improved estate planning, and ADR provides mechanisms to resolve disputes when prevention is not enough. Public confidence in justice. AGD builds trust by demystifying estate processes. ADR builds trust through accessible, humane alternatives to litigation. Equity and inclusion. Both initiatives benefit those least equipped to navigate formal courts: women, children, informal property holders, and low-income families. Shared outcomes: reduced court backlogs, faster dispute resolution. The development of a national ADR policy is a critical step on Jamaica's social justice roadmap. It provides a coherent framework across justice institutions, standardizes quality and access to services, ensures sustainability beyond individual projects, and signals a national shift towards people-centered justice. It also strengthens public awareness, positioning ADR as a first rather than last option for dispute resolution. In closing, Canada's long-term partnership reflects confidence in Jamaica's leadership and reform trajectory within the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Canada commends the leadership of Minister Delroy Chuck, whose stewardship has been a critical success factor in Jamaica's justice reform journey. His consistent advocacy has positioned justice reform as a social good, not merely a legal process. Thank you, Minister. Together, the AGD Public Education Campaign and the National ADR Policy represent a justice system that is preventive, responsive, and inclusive, one that protects assets, resolves disputes peacefully, and promotes social cohesion. With sustained leadership from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, continued partnership, and with our implementing partner, the very able UNDP, Jamaica moves closer to a justice system that truly works for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Mrs. Jupoli Pink and Ms. Enevo. It would be remiss of me to not acknowledge the presence of Mr. Richard Troop, Director of Safety and Security, Ministry of Education, Youth, Skills, and Information. Good morning, Mr. Troop. This is where we get to the meat of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. This is the reason for your presence. The national policy on ADR offers and it's not just a policy, but it's also in relation to estate management, but we'll start with policy. The national policy on ADR offers an extensive multi-option dispute and conflict resolution dispute and conflict management and resolution framework, which in some instances operates independently of, and in other situations in tandem with the judicial system. Here to deliver a more comprehensive presentation on what the draft policy will cover is Acting Director in the Justice Policy Unit in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Mrs. Sandy Lou Cole-Jarrett. Mrs. Cole-Jarrett.
A pleasant good morning, everyone. Standing on all protocols observed prior, my name is Sandy Lou Cole-Jarrett, and today I'm here in the capacity as Acting Director, formerly Public Law, Restorative and Preventive Justice Unit. But I'd also like to say my substantive role here at the Ministry is the Senior Policy Analyst. Hence why I'm here presenting to you on the Alternative Dispute Resolution Policy that I'm currently working on. As Custos Pitkin beautifully said in his prayer, the Alternative Dispute Resolution Policy is for the benefit and advancement of all people of Jamaica. Right, I'm a little bit more comfortable not having to lean over. Thank you. So as you can see here, I'm here to present an overview on advancing justice through alternative dispute resolution and national policy for Jamaica, championed by the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. And this policy, in a nutshell, is a pathway to justice, efficiency, and social harmony. What is alternative dispute resolution? So it generally refers to a range of approaches that provides parties in a dispute/conflict with options to resolve their disputes outside of the court process. Now, I just want to say here that the term alternative dispute resolution in terms of our legislative framework is not generally defined, save and except in the Disabilities Act, where they have coined their own definition for alternative dispute resolution for the purposes of that legislation. And in the Arbitration Act, proceedings for arbitration would have been defined in that respective legislation. And also to mention here, mediation is coming on stream because we're now looking at the mediation bill. So we have different processes that I would have mentioned here that fall under the general category of alternative dispute resolution. So they're arbitration, mediation, restorative justice, which is a big part of the ministry's work. We have a whole branch that is dedicated to offering restorative justice to persons who qualify. There is negotiation, adjudication, and med-arb. I also have here mentioned conciliation, settlement conferences, expert determination, neutral evaluation. And all these methods can be used in various applicable too. Why a national policy on alternative dispute resolution? I crave your indulgence. Technology is getting the best of me. Violence. So, law enforcement and punitive measures can fall short in addressing the root causes leading to recurring cycles of crime and violence. So what ADR wants to do is to have dialogue, or what it promotes is more of a dialogue as opposed to bringing matters before the court. Relationships. The court process can be adversarial. ADR places strong emphasis on building better relationships. Adversarial processes are not necessarily good for long-standing amicable relationships, and what ADR tries to do here is to make sure that once parties leave an ADR resolution session, they are both leaving happy, for want of a better word. The court process, I don't know if you all are familiar with that song from ABBA. I will not attempt to sing it, but the winner takes it all, the loser standing tall or small, right? And so that is what the adversarial process does. There's a winner and a loser, but ADR, on the other hand, we all want to leave as winners. Awareness. Awareness of ADR is a viable option for resolving disputes without going to court. So what the policy wants to do is to bring better awareness to ADR methods, what is available to the public for use. Because once again, from all parties. So it's a voluntary process that is very flexible in its application. And so when parties of a dispute come together, they can speak and figure out what works for them. Again, I'm going to refer to the court processes because when you compare that with the court processes, judges are guided by the rules of the law. And so they have to apply that accordingly. Here that ADR will not be applicable to every scenario. As it is now, it is more appropriate for civil matters. But what I want to emphasize is that we want society to get to a stage where there is no contemplation of going to court, because you would have been au fait with these ADR methods. You would have been exposed to how to solve disputes and conflicts by ADR. And so we anticipate with that disputes will not escalate to a point where court intervention is required. And that is the basis on which we're pushing ADR. So a cultural shift. We want to promote dialogue over adversarial proceedings, efficiency in the delivery of justice, so shortened resolution times, reducing judicial burden. So that's reducing judicial backlog or court case backlog, which typically refers to court cases that remain before the court for more than 2 years without being resolved. So if we're using ADR on the back end for matters not to go before the court, essentially the matters before the court can get resolved and the courts can focus on dealing with those matters. Social harmony. Members of society coexisting peacefully with mutual respect and understanding, which is a core principle of all ADR methods. Where can ADR be used? So as I would have mentioned before, it is very multifaceted. So it can be used across many different spheres. So school, workplace conflicts, family community disputes, commercial industries, it is heavily used in the construction industry, labor disputes, consumer disputes, environmental related disputes, which we have seen in more recent times, ADR being used to resolve environmental disputes. Where are we? How do we plan to execute this policy? So phase 1, concept paper, we have passed that phase. Can I have a round of applause, please? So it's 2020, in the process of preparing the green paper, and so we have commenced consultations here and there, but we are going to be doing a cross-country, for want of a better word, tour. And so we have decided to group parishes together in executing this initiative. And first up, we're targeting Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, and that is scheduled for May, end of May. So some of you in here, please continue to check your inboxes. I'm sure you'll see invitations from me or somebody at the ministry indicating that we are welcoming you to this event that we're planning, and others as well, because as I said, we're going to be going across the island. Phase 3, so cabinet approval, that's when they have determined that this policy is at its point of readiness. So we would have done the extensive consultations, we would have gone back to the green paper draft, inputted those consultations or those recommendations from stakeholders for the policy to be now tabled in the Houses of Parliament. Once we're through that, national rollout. So policy implementation. So our anticipated timeline is over a 5 years period, and that would be from 2027 to 2031. And as you can see there, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you see my eagles taking off? Right, so these are our stakeholders, full force on in implementing the policy. Adopting an ADR policy for Jamaica, what we anticipate as the expected outcomes and benefits. Higher dispute resolution rates outside of court, reduced court caseload, flexibility in dispute/conflict resolution, enhanced access to justice, and very importantly, better citizen relations. Because we really want that as it is now. I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily like how citizen relations are, being displayed of late. So we want this ADR policy to step in and see how best we can redirect citizen relations for better communication. I'm very proud to present to you here the educational material that we're currently working with. So as part of our public education and consultation, we have come up with some brochures, some posters that we want to distribute to the public, just to give them an idea of what ADR is and what we're currently working with in the ADR framework. So this is what you're seeing here. So we would have indicated the services available where you can find them at the top of the list, of course, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, court, because there's court annexed to ADR as well. So ADR is not necessarily a standalone process at all times. The courts can actually refer persons to ADR, in particular mediation. This again shows you how ADR works. So it explains that both sides of a disagreement talk with a neutral third party who listens and provides guidance for the process of ADR that they're working with, which could be mediation, arbitration, conciliation. But you may be wondering why I have the letters of the alphabet here. Would you like me to explain? All right, so I've told you so much about ADR in approximately 10 minutes. So I want to find out from you, not only if you know your ABCs, but how much you've grasped from what I have said here earlier. So we're going to play a little game, and I'll start for you. So I want us to have a conversation on ADR using the letters of the alphabet. So as we go across, I'm going to start a sentence, and we're going to continue the conversation, right? So you want me to give you an example? Right? Are you ready? All right. So alternative dispute resolution is a method often used to resolve dispute outside of court. Notice I started with A. What's the next letter of the alphabet? Correct. Benefits of ADR include time and cost saving compared to traditional litigation. Next sentence, C. Anybody? Round of applause for Minister, yes. D. Wonderful. E. Thank you, Mrs. Stuart McFarlane. Yes. F. Perfect, perfect. Who said flexible? Wonderful. I'd love full sentences though, but I'll accept. G. Oh, Minister, you're on a roll. H. Anybody? Happy, healthy relationships. Perfect. Thank you, Mrs. Watson. What's the next letter of the alphabet? All right. Who wants to take that? Anybody? I? Okay. Okay, Minister. Minister is very off with ADR. We can see that. J? Wonderful. K? Oh, Lord. Minister, do you want to take the rest of it? L? Oh, wow. M? Oh, wow, you're listening. Thank you so much. N? Wonderful. O? Oh, wow. Yes, Minister. P? Powell's Law? Would you like to expound on that? Okay. Can we switch that to powering restorative justice processes? All right. Q. Let's R. Say that again, Mrs. Rochester Clark. You were planning. Are you planning? I see you're reading from your paper. S. Yes, Minister. T. Wonderful. Can I plug that into my ADR? Yes. I went twice. The only thing I could come up with, X number of persons have signed up for restorative justice. So I'll move on. Why? Youthful engagement. Absolutely. You're almost guaranteed an amicable resolution with ADR. Last, Z. Round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. Not only do we remember the letters of the alphabet, but we also know so much about ADR. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cole-Jarrett. And I think everybody's now, if you weren't paying attention before, you're paying attention now. I have the pleasure of introducing Mrs. Stacey Ann Carty, who will be speaking to us about estate planning, explaining that it's not just about distributing assets, it's about protecting your loved ones and ensuring that the wishes of the deceased are honored through a safe and structured arrangement. Mrs. Carty will share with us the details of the AGD's mandate and the anticipated outcomes of this public awareness drive. Mrs. Carty?
It's uncertain, don't hesitate. Make a will, set the record straight. For your family's sake, don't delay. The AGD will help you make a will today. Protect the ones you hold dear. ensure the future is clear. Write it down, make your wishes known. Even 995 sort of dress you won't show. Tell them the songs to play, the food to cook, to who gets the house, the land, the coat, the shoes. Who gets what when you're gone? Show your love, make a will today. For your family sake, don't delay. The AGD will help you make a will today.
Administrator General's Department.
Protecting your legacy.
Pleasant morning, everyone. All protocols observed. We would like to acknowledge our partners, the Global Affairs Canada and the United Nations So Just Project. They're the ones who have given us the consultants, the funding to develop the ad you just heard. So some persons are chuckling, who is going to get your shoes? Based on our years of experience, I see some of my colleagues in the audience, you'd be surprised the things that people are concerned about after you're gone. We're concerned about, as a culture, the nine-night. Anybody here ever heard about a nine-night? So some persons want curry goat, some persons think you must have pork, some person says no, the dead person didn't like pork. But the truth is, if you fail to plan, who is going to know? We're just going to do whatever it is that we desire with your money when you are gone. And so what that advertisement is trying to capture is all the little things that we see nuanced in our culture. Some persons are going to say, no, he wanted Great is Thy Faithfulness to be played at this funeral service. Another person in the family is going to be saying, no, he did not like that song. And what we're simply saying to you, if you make a will, you can detail all of those things in your will. If it is that you don't want a nine-night, if it is that you don't want tributes, all those persons who want to be buried and not cremated, if you want a horse who is making the will, we call them testator, but just know that you must sign it. But when you're signing it, two persons must be present, and they must also sign. So it's just three things. One, it must be in writing. It must be signed by the person who is making it in the presence of how many witnesses? And there to sign. Now, culturally, thank you to all the JPs that are present, all the lawyers and the doctors who might be in the audience, but legally, you don't need a lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, JP, or the Minister of Justice to be your witness. You need any two people. We suggest to you, do not use somebody who is benefiting. So if you're giving the gift to your child, the child ought not to be the witness, because there's a presumption that the person forced you and coerced you to give them a little dead left, right? So find somebody. If you go to a lawyer's office, the secretary might be the signatory. If it is that you are at church, any two of your church sisters who you know you're not giving anything to could be the signatories, but don't let it be somebody who is benefiting from the will. So, as I said, if you remember nothing else, this is in our campaign and you will see it. To date, we are very happy, thanks to Global Affairs Canada and the UNDP program, that our videos, which were published, there are 8 of them that are on our YouTube channel. We have started them since January, so that's just 3 months. And to date, we've had over 1.5 million views on those videos. So they've been getting extensive rotation. I'm going to pause so that you can see one of our videos as the technicians are projecting it at the moment. Some audio, please. If you could start from the beginning. Thanks. Could you indulge me and start it over, please? Thank you. Thanks.
My son dead. My daughter-in-law get half of the dead left. The pity then share up the rest, and me no get none. What me going to do? Is him alone that take care of me, you know?
Rico, it's sad, but it's so it go. He never write no will, so the law decide half go to dispose and the rest share up between the picnic them. Once them alive and he proves that Dana is wife and Mali and Mala is not jacket, them get everything.
So me have to just accept that?
No word that if you do. Your daughter-in-law will love you all the same. She will come true for you.
through that still. Me just wish me did do better for guide me son. Every adult need to know this young or old, you must have a will.
For more information about writing a will or for a will form, contact the Administrator General's Department by visiting our website at www.agd.gov.jm or our Kingston office at the Office Center building located at 12 Ocean Boulevard or the Montego Bay office located on the second floor of the NHG building.
So what we have found over the years is that we have a culture, and it's not only Jamaican, of not necessarily planning, not making wills. Thank you. Of not making wills. So you might wonder to yourself, so we didn't make the will, you didn't hear the ad on the radio that 18 million people have heard in the past 4 months. I don't know how it missed you, but maybe you're streaming and you're not listening to local radio. Because from the All Island Media Survey, we have found that at least 18 million listeners have heard that jingle that you had an introduction to. So say you heard it and you didn't respond, or you didn't hear it and you didn't make a will. The law is very clear. The Intestate Estates and Property Charges Act is going to say who gets what. So let us put ourselves in the shoes of the baby mother, right? So the gentleman has died and the baby mother has come to our office, quite distressed. Larry has died, he didn't make a will. I have 3 children for him. He was on farm work. She's going to become overwhelmed because we're going to say, okay, we need a little bit more from you. And she's going to say, but I was actually pregnant when Larry was on farm work, and as you saw from the video, culturally, sometimes there is a common law situation and not an intention to necessarily make it legal. Our law provides that where you are a spouse, living as man and wife for 5 continuous years before the date of death, you can go to the court and get an order to say you're a spouse. But it also provides if you are alleging you're a child of the deceased, but your father's name is not on your birth certificate, you also have to go to court through your parent or guardian and prove to the court that this dead person is your father. So what is it that the court is going to require from this person? She's instantly overwhelmed because we have just told her, Larry is dead, you're figuring out how to bury him, you're figuring out how to do your day-to-day activities, and now I'm sending you to court to prove that Larry Jr. is actually Larry's child. So what we're saying to her is go to the family court. They're going to ask you a couple questions. Prove to us that this is truly Larry's child because you're actually trying to get some of Larry's assets. The court will ask for proof that Larry was probably on the registration at the basic school, registration at the clinic, went to PTA meetings, persons in the community or the registration at the clinic, went to PTA meetings, persons in the community or the family can speak to the relation. You can re-watch the video a couple times because it's not usual that the first time you're confronted with something you truly understand. It usually means that you have to go back and look at it a couple times. So we're truly grateful for videos such as these because we have had so many calls to the department based on the jingle, the videos, for persons asking for guidance. Can I come with my church group to make the will? And we're like, well, you know, there are only 100 of us here administering 5,000 files, but we do have it on our website and we're looking at other ways. We have reached out to UNDP's project manager, Shelley, to say, how can we deepen the relationship now that we're getting increased feedback from the members of society, telling us exactly what their needs are from the department? How can we take it a little further to probably having a legal aid fair where we just sit and make wills for members of our population in Jamaica? So we have seen the results in just 3 months, so we look forward to the deepening of the relationship. Now, we have to remember that when a loved one dies, yes, the memories are there, but we also have real issues. We have issues of creditors who oftentimes actually bring the death to our attention. So rest assured, when you have died, the banks still need to be paid, the hire purchase persons still need to be paid, or they're coming back for the fridge and the stove and so forth. The loan sharks still want to be paid, so the employer is reaching out to us to say, well, so-and-so financial institution has said that Stacy is owing $10 million and we have the money here for her. What are we to do? The insurance companies, they might have had various assets all over the place. And I just want all of us to remember that once we die, the creditors are still there. So look at how you're planning your life. Are you living your life where you are in high debt? Because sometimes it pains our hearts, and the Deputy Administrator General is here as well. When we've finished paying all the debt, there's truly nothing for the children to get. So think about it. When you die, speaking with everybody in the room and remotely, who is going to get what you have left behind? Have you made a will? If you have an insurance policy, because estate planning is more than will making, you have an insurance policy, have you nominated a beneficiary or have you written estate? If it is that you have a house, do you own it jointly? There are various things that we can do whilst we're alive. And this campaign has various videos, various material that is walking each and every one of us through this. The minister's charge was very clear. He came to me and he said, Stacey, you need to educate the public on estate administration and estate planning. And he will always tell the story about when he made his first will, when he got his first job, and it was to your wife and children absolutely in equal share, sir? And it hasn't changed, right? And the reason I bring that up, I believe that could easily have been, I know you're young, but at least 40, 50 years ago. 50 years ago, and he's still here. And the reason I mention it is that we find that culturally we have a challenge. We have a cultural belief that if I make a will, I'm going dead. And thank you for your example that will making does not mean that you're going to die. I made my will at 17. I wasn't legal. You can't make a will at 17. You have to be 18, and I'm still here many years later. But as I go through on our day-to-day, when our team goes out, you still find that we have that deeply held cultural belief that once you do estate planning, you're going to die. And these are things that we have to chip away at, because estate planning is not just for the wealthy. The minister's charge is that estate planning is for everybody. Whether you're a shopkeeper, whether you're a hairdresser, whether you're a public servant, office worker, construction worker, developer, anything that you are, all of us, once we have assets, should turn our minds and put plans in place in where your asset is going to go. And that's all estate planning is really about. And it doesn't have any relationship with money. It doesn't have any relationship with how many assets you have, because my experience in the past 20 years has shown me that you will always have a fight over deadlift. Regardless of your social status, deadlift for some strange reason brings acrimony. As we go into our cultural context, most of our families are not nuclear families. I remember a long time ago when I was an attorney at the Administrator General's Department, and my office was right by customer service. And it was a Monday morning, which I feel was always the most dramatic morning in the office because the funeral happened on a Saturday. So at the what you call that, the graveside, everybody is crying, and then this person realized that I'm not the only spouse, I'm not the only baby mother, I have 6 more siblings, and everybody comes down to the department in a furor. She wasn't really a daughter, and that one is a jacket, and everybody is having these very heated, passionate discussions. And the truth is, when we don't make the determination, let me make that abundantly clear, everyone has to go to the court to prove what your legal status is in the absence of a marriage certificate. And so you will have to go to the court to decide. We have an estate which we are now bringing to closure as the last minor is 18. And the most impactful thing for me was that the gentleman did have a diverse family with various persons. He did have a spouse that he was engaged in divorce proceedings, but once you have children, the court requires you to make arrangements for the care and the maintenance of the children before you can get to divorce. And when we read through the file, it was so acrimonious, back and forth about you don't need this, you don't need that, and he died in the middle of the court proceedings. So that person went with half of the estate because he didn't make a will. And for me, it was very impactful because I'm almost sure, although I didn't know him, if he had the opportunity to detail his thoughts in a will, he may not have given the person half of his assets, right? And so this campaign is seeking to make everybody in Jamaica aware. What is it that you need to do to make a will? There's a video on that. What happens?
Share up the race. Share up the race. I mean, not get none. What me going to do? Is him alone? Did I take care of me, you know?
Rico, it's sad, but it's so it go. He never write no will, so the law decide half go to the spouse and the rest share up between the picnic them. Once them alive and he proves that Dana is wife and Mali and Mala is not jacket, them get everything.
So me have to just accept that?
No word that if you do. Your daughter-in-law love you all the same. She will come through for you.
True that still. Me just wish me did do better for guide me son. Every adult need to know this young or old. You must have a will.
For more information about writing a will or for a will form, contact the Administrator General's Department by visiting our website at www.agd.gov.jm or our Kingston office at the Office Center building located at
Men, they take care of their mothers for life. That's the nature of our culture. If your son has died and he has minor children, you can't get anything under the Intestate and Property Charges Act. The child will get everything. This child your son may have been paying your utility bills, paying for your doctor visits, but the estate is going to go to his children. So this is something that we want to ensure that everybody knows, because it might let you understand that failure to plan, who is going to provide for the ones that you were taking care of, that you were responsible for. So the campaign is seeking to transfer wealth from one generation to the next, which might help with generational wealth. Think about it. If you were to start from having a house versus starting from scratch, your life would be different. If you were to have funds as a child of your father has died or your mother has died, and you were to able to dispel one last myth as a government agency. When we go out, persons say, well, the government going to take everything anyway. It's not quite how it works. What it is called in law is bona vacantia. And all it means is that you had no legal relatives. You had no spouse, no children, no parents, no cousins, no aunt, nobody at all who could take it. And because you can't leave assets not being held by anybody, it goes back to the crown, right? But most importantly, if there was somebody who was taking care of you like they were your own in this category, currently we have at least 300 of them. It's called land claim.
Miss Cherry, me a pass the municipal council and see a notice about Mass Laurelland where him dead left. It look like them can't find a living relative what to give it to, so government going to take it back.
Then Kevin, no, you used to look after Larry for 20 odd years right up till him dead. You remember how Larry did love you like him own son and never trust a soul else to stay up at the house with him, pay him bills and buy him little groceries.
True.
Go down to the Administrator General and apply for the piece of land. Matter of fact, me going to go with you. You're going to need 2 people to say them know Larry and that them know you as a person will take care of him and that him would want you to have the land.
That sound good, Miss Cherry. Brillary, if you can vote for between her, we're going to ask him.
Me going to tell him, ready!
If you are not a proven relative of someone who died and you think they would have provided for you if they left a will, you may be able to apply for the dead left through the Administrator 221-830-3 or 876-618-1542. If you prefer, WhatsApp us at 876-5520 or send us
Thank you. So whether you're going to watch the videos on YouTube on our channel, or we're going to interrupt you whilst you're streaming on YouTube with an ad, or if it is that you're going to hear us on the radio, whether on the GIS Information Hour or on another paid ad, we look forward to educating the public, to go deeper in the nooks and crannies, to go on the all-island tour that was spoken about earlier, to let everybody know that it's very important to secure your legacy.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Carty. Now, either Miss Cherry is a village lawyer or she's a JP, yes? Because she's in everything. So now it is a privilege. I mean, we would have noted that Minister would have been, you know, in the trenches up to, I think, close to 2 o'clock this morning, Minister. But we have I have the privilege of introducing a leader whose work continues to strengthen our justice system and champion fairness and equitable access for all. As one of the strongest advocates of social harmony, the development of this policy and the avoidance of strife through managed estate planning is very important to him. Please help me in welcoming our Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Honorable Delroy Chuck. Minister.
Thank you very much, Rennie. If you see me walking slowly, it's because I didn't reach home until almost 3 o'clock. And as my usual practice, I have to get my exercise in the morning before I go out to work. So I'm still trying to get the body going. But let me say all protocols observed. I think Permanent Secretary outlined all our distinguished persons who are here. But I still would like to identify my good friend. Even Monday, we had to thank them again for allowing us a team to go to Rwanda, and we were able to engage in a contract with Rwanda to put in place an IECMS, that is Integrated Electronic Court Management System. Integrated. And when I say integrated, by computers, so that you get all the documents passing through electronically, and not a policeman going to pick up documents or taking the report from the police station to the court. Once they draft an affidavit or a ballistic or forensic report is ready, then they can just send it electronically and no one is to move. And this is a big contract for the Ministry of Justice, but a lot more money will be spent to make sure we have the equipment. It's a 4.5 million US for the Rwanda and Synergy to really put in place this IECMS, but there may be another 5 or 10 million more US dollars to buy equipment to make sure we have what is needed to mediation. And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been meaning to ratify it, but the Mediation Act, which we are hoping will be in place later this year, so that we can ratify that Singapore Convention. The launch of these 2 programs today really is consistent with making Jamaica a more peaceful, productive, and prosperous country. And while I deal with ADR, it is important that we note a number of initiatives that we have taken so far. And estate planning, we have been going, but at the end of my part in all of this, which I will explain towards the end, is to go to every parish to encourage everybody to at least have something to leave in your will. And that is from here I'm going to be encouraging, and I'll tell people, make sure from you start working, you start accumulating some assets, something that you can take care of yourself later in life and don't have the state or your children taking care of you. And you will have something to leave for your children or for charity as you see best. So let me at this time thank everyone for being here and joining us across Jamaica to launch this national ADR policy stakeholder engagement process and the Administrator General's Department Public Education Campaign on estate planning, an initiative that speaks not only to justice reform, but to how we build a more peaceful, secure, and empowered society grounded in sustained social, productive, and a prosperous society. We're advancing these two powerful stakeholder engagement process for the development of a national policy on alternative dispute resolution, and second, a renewed push for estate planning education across Jamaica. Let me just say that the ADR concept paper was approved by Cabinet in December 2025 and was actually laid in the House in February this year as a green paper. And we're now going to be going across the island to develop this green paper more, and then we will make it into reliance on court litigation, often after conflicts have already escalated. ADR, and you know the Chief Justice likes to say Singapore uses the acronym ADR to mean appropriate dispute resolution rather than alternative dispute resolution. So ADR offers a different path. It provides timely, accessible, and people-oriented and people-centered solutions. Mediation, arbitration, restorative justice, negotiation, adjudication, conciliation, among others, that allows individuals, families, businesses, and communities to resolve disputes earlier, faster, and more amicably, without the cost and complexity of formal court proceedings. But more than that, ADR helps to address something deeper. It supports a cultural shift from one where conflict often escalates into confrontation or even violence, to one where dialogue, understanding, and resolution are the norm. We know that many serious crimes begin as simple disagreements. If we can intervene early, if we can equip our citizens with accessible and trusted mechanisms to resolve disputes, we can reduce escalation, strengthen social cohesion, and build safer communities. That is why your role, our role as stakeholders is so critical. This engagement process is not a formality. It is the foundation. We're seeking your insights, expertise, and lived experiences to help shape a comprehensive, inclusive, and effective ADR policy framework, one that reflects the realities of our people and meets the needs of all sectors. Let me say this. It is so very important for us to buy into this program. And as I will explain later, we are going across the country, and we are going to go into each parish. We are going to ask the custodians to put together at least 100 of the stakeholders so that we can use them to promote ADR and estate planning, which I will come to in a short while. But it is important that we do this. We are very happy at this juncture that I think we are on the right path in terms of getting crime and violence down. Over the past few years, 2023, murder, which is a good measure of what is happening in terms of crime and violence in Jamaica, went down by 9%. In 2024, 19%. Last year, we went down by 42%. I don't know what the percentage will be this year, but we are really hoping it will be high, close to 50%. So far this year, we have gone 175 murders. Yesterday I looked at the figures, which is 53 murders less than the same time last year. We are really hoping, and it has been moving between 50 and 60 murders as we move from the beginning of the year. Certainly we would want that by about the middle of May, we have 150 less murders than last year. In truth, we are really hoping and aiming that murders can be closer to 400 for 20. Take it from me. This commissioner of police, he has a statistics department, and every day they send out statistics as to where crimes are committed, where murders are committed, and they have regular meetings, and where there's a volatile situation, additional resources are sent there, so that so far this year, as happened last year, in virtually all area divisions, there's a reduction in murders. In fact, this year, unfortunately, it's only in the middle of Jamaica at this time that there's an increase. That is between Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Clarendon. Last year, there was a reduction, significant reduction in those three parishes. But in all the area councils, police area divisions, there has been reduction except Area 3, Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth. Not much high. There are probably about 7 murders more this year than last year. Up to last weekend, I used to go around and say St. Andrew North, that division, which Norris is very well attached with, they had no murders. And I'm happy to report that in the Barbican area and Grand Spain area, I keep my fingers crossed, every time I say something happens. We haven't had any murders for over a year, right? And only less than 2 weeks ago, there was one murder on Red Hills Road. But the country is doing well, but we can do much better. We have to get murders going down and crime going down. And this is why this ADR policy is meant to assist the police and the country to settle disputes, solve disagreements, so that they do not have to use abuse, threats, and violence to solve them. And we're really planning to go out across the island to promote ADR. At the same time, today's launch of the Estate Planning Education Campaign reinforces another essential pillar of justice: preparedness and protection. Too often, families are left in uncertainty, conflict, or financial hardship simply because proper estate planning was not undertaken. This campaign is about ensuring that Jamaicans understand their rights, make informed decisions, and take proactive steps to secure their legacy. In many ways, estate planning and ADR intersect. Both seek to prevent disputes before they arise. As Stacey indicated, and as you know, nothing causes more disputes than deadlift. Not only disputes, but violence. Sadly, Bishop Pitkin, I have to tell you, all the information is the killing in St. James appear to have come because they're fighting over deadlift. That's the story I understand Bishop hit. Yes. Just for a piece of property, you're going to take life? It's not worth it. And I hope the killer and the families will not benefit from the death of this lady. In both ADR and estate planning seek to prevent disputes before they arise, reduce burdens on the courts, and protect relationships, assets, and dignity. Together, these initiatives represent a forward-thinking approach to justice, one that is preventative rather than reactive, inclusive rather than inaccessible, and restorative rather than adversarial. They also align with our broader national vision to create a Jamaica that is secure, cohesive, and just, where citizens have confidence in systems that are fair, responsive, and effective. As we move forward, let us be clear. Policy alone will not transform people, systems. People will. It will take collaboration across government, the private sector, civil society, communities, and you, the stakeholders in this room, to bring this vision to reality. So today, we are not simply launching initiatives, we are issuing an invitation to participate, contribute, help shape the future of justice in Jamaica. Over the next 6 months, beginning in May, we are going to be moving across Jamaica to promote these two very important initiatives. We're hoping to ask the custodies to invite, at least as I indicated earlier, stakeholders in the parishes, headmasters and headmistress, Richard Troop, we have been working along closer with, in the schools, the Justice of the Peace Association, the Justice of the Peace, business people, who certainly would like as many pastors, social workers, and so on. And what we want to do at these events is to have a lunch or some get-together, starting at 10, and hopefully by 1 we can have lunch. But to get the people together to discuss how we can promote ADR and estate planning across every parish. Certainly, we want to bring everyone together and get them to identify, say, the persons in the parishes who are engaged in ADR. For instance, we want to bring the mediators who are in the parish, and that is why John, I've spoken to him. We want to know who are the mediators in all the parishes. You have a few parishes where the courts have been able to give mediation. The Ministry of Justice a few years ago decided that if parties who go to court would like to mediate before the judge makes a decision, and we are begging, up to last Friday, I met with the Chief Justice and the parish court judges to encourage the judges to send more matters to ADR. And people should know, as Stacey pointed out, evidence which is before me. So, evidence which is before me. So, if you want, both of you go with Mr. X or Miss Y, and you get together and see if you can settle your matters amicably. We want to promote more of this. The Chief Justice wants us to promote it even more, because the more cases that are settled before they come to court, or even when they come to court, the better for the court system. It means less burden on the court. And burden on the court is immense, I can tell you. You just have to go and see how courts look like a marketplace because of the number of people who have matters there. These matters need to be settled. Now, I go around and urge people to make a will, because when you make a will, you solve a lot of problems. People know what they're to get, even though most think they should get more. When they hear the will, they feel that the testator left them out or didn't give them enough. But the testator has made a decision. And the court and the executors must comply with the intention of the testator. Indeed, I would like, Richard, and I have said that to Minister Dixon, not every teacher should make a will. Not many people know that in the JDF, from you join the JDF and you're recruited, and you have to make a will. I would like Norris and the police to make a will. I know it's challenging because, you know, there are so many potential beneficiaries that it might be difficult. But it solves a lot of problems. But I would like, you know, the 14,000 policemen, every single one, to make a will. I have said it to all justices of the peace. And I've said, from I started to work and I got married, I decided that I should make a will. And that was, as I say, 50 years ago. And I've only changed it twice. It is there. I mean, 2014 was the last time I changed it. And I don't hope to change it until, you know, when I maybe see imminent death, and I don't see it for a long time. Yeah, I hope to be around for quite some time. But it's important that people engage in estate planning. But I would like to say, and this I want to stress that this is where my part of the program will be in estate planning, that people must plan ahead. Not only when they in the latter part of their lives, but from the start to work. From your start to work, start putting aside something for your retirement. There are far too many Jamaicans who only start thinking of retirement when they reach 50 and sometimes close to retirement age. In truth, all Jamaicans should start thinking about retirement from they start earning a living. And what do I mean by this? Every single wage earner should put aside a minimum amount of money for a rainy day, yes, but also towards your retirement. And I think even if you're a minimum wage earner, you should try and put at least a minimum, $1,000, in a bank account or in savings. And if you do it consistently, there comes a point when you will have $1 million. And let me say, the most difficult million to earn is the first million. Once you get the first million, the second and 10 million come quickly. But if you develop the habit of saving and putting aside $1 million, that habit overtakes you. At the moment, if you don't develop the habit to save and to have money for a rainy day, you will always be broke, always be in debt. You have to develop the habit of having something in the kitty for a rainy day, which, as I say, can go towards retirement. And if you put aside, even a minimum wage earner, $1,000 per week, that's $50,000 per year, you know. And when urgently needed, but even when it is just needed, leave it alone, build it up. Because by the time you're 40, you should have another stream of income with that money that is invested, or even if you put it in bonds or you keep it in a savings account, it will be able to assist you in buying a house, or even buying a second house that can be another source of income. But every single Jamaican should start developing the habit of saving. And once you develop the habit of saving, then you must start to let your money work for you. Because during your working life, you work for money. But there comes a point, especially close to retirement, where your money must work for you now. Because once you retire, you may think your children will take care for you. I can assure you the children have their children to take care of. And I've seen it in my political life, where the old people who invested all their resources in their children, and the children just forget them. And they depend on the state and the politician and the pastors to look after them. You know how many churches have to look after old people? Very sad. And these old people have children working and not taking care of them. And don't depend on the state. You think NIS, when I see I'm now entitled to NIS, I didn't really want it, but they say if I don't take it, I will lose it. If I had to depend on NIS, I think I get about 40,000 every month. That can't even pay the light bill. And 40, I think I'm at the top of the range. Many people probably get 20, 30,000. It cannot allow you to live a decent life in your old age. And that is why, as I go around the island, I will be participating in discussions and promoting with all the stakeholders to urge employees, time, you're 40, as I said, your money should start working for you. I think Oracle knows that Guardian Life, I mean, they have lots of estate planners telling people buy life insurance, and the life insurance can be encashed at age 60. Yes, but I'm going to be promoting that savings is voluntary. The countries that are doing well, really well in it, the one I think of is Singapore. Singapore makes it mandatory for every single employee as they think about estate planning to also think about retirement. Thanks everyone, and I hope we can all buy into everything.
Thank you, Minister Chuck. If we could give Minister another round of applause. So as we bring this official launch to a close, I encourage you to transmit the information that we shared with you today as you see fit. Share it, please. We're seeking your suggestions and recommendations in relation to the draft ADR policy, and we encourage you to play your part in national policy development by sending your feedback and comments to this email address, policyfeedbackadr@moj.gov.jm. So it's one word, policyfeedbackadr@moj.gov.jm. The draft document can be found on our website, which is moj.gov.jm. Also, please watch and share and like the promotional material that has been generated by the Administrator General's Department. Thank you for your participation and your engagement, and of course your commitment to building a better Jamaica. Please stand as we come to a close so that we can play the national anthem.
It will come true for you.
True that still. We just wish we did do better for guide my son. Every adult need to know this, young or old, you must have a will.
For more information about writing a will or for a will form, contact the Administrator General's Department by visiting our website at www.agd.gov.jm. or our Kingston office at the Office Center building located at 12 Ocean Boulevard, or the Montego Bay office located on the second floor of the NHG building at 42B Union Street. You may also call our landlines at 876-922-1830-3 or 876-618-1542. If you prefer, WhatsApp us at 876-552-0054 or send us an email at admingen@agd.gov.jm.
'em.
'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em. 'em.
Miss Cherry, me a pass the municipal council and see a notice about Mass Laurel where him dead left. It look like them can't find no living relative what to give it to, so government go and take it back.
Then Kevin, no, you used to look after Larry for 20 odd years right up till him dead. You remember how Larry did love you like him own son and never trust a soul else to stay up at the house with him, pay him bills and buy him little groceries.
True.
Go down to the Administrator General and apply for the piece of land. Matter of fact, me going go with you. You're going to need 2 people to say them know Larry and that them know you as a person will take care of him and that him would want you to have the land.
That sound good, Miss Cherry. Brilla Reed can vote for between her. We're going to ask him.
Ask. Me going to tell him, ready.
If you are not a proven relative of someone who died and you think they would have provided for you if they left a will, you may be able to apply for the dead left through the Administrator General's Department. For more information, contact the Administrator General's Department by visiting our website at www.agd.gov.jm or our Kingston office at the Office Center building located at 12 Ocean Boulevard or the Montego Bay office located on the 2nd floor of the NHT building at 42B Union Street. You may also call our landlines at 876-922-1830-3 or 876-618-1542. If you prefer, WhatsApp us at 876-552-0054 or send us an email at admingen@agd.gov.jm.